Hey everybody, welcome back to Global Conflict TCG. Ryan here with you. So it's been a minute. Haven't posted a video in probably like a month or so. Um, I can tell you, definitely been working on the game, still making progress. This video is going to be kind of short and sweet. Just want to show you the progress updates on the game, where it's at, kind of in the process, what we've been doing, and just kind of keep you updated and let you know the project is not dead. So you can see now I'm just kind of panning around the map. I've done some other videos about the maps before, but this is the current state of the desert map. I do have a few other maps out there that I've worked on or put together, but this is the one I just kind of stuck with for now. Like, I'm not really building the maps at the current state. But let's talk about the game. So where am I at? I'm just going to go ahead and press play and talk about it. So what you're going to see is just the most current up-to-date point that I'm at. So I'm almost at the point where I can play a full match. Like, we're almost there. I have two really watered down basic decks, between one for the computer and one for myself. And it's really basic. There's not a whole lot. On the player one side, so the human side, I don't have my attacks wired up yet. So you're going to see I have these two attack buttons on the side that I use to attack. It's kind of a crappy way of doing it, but it does kind of work for now. So we just did that. The last thing that I was working on with this game is the knockout manager, or the manager that handles the prizes for the game. And so you're going to see that here. I'm able to do knockouts and things like that. And but really, like, the last couple months, I've spent really digging into the AI, the computer. And let me tell you, it is stupid complicated. I'll flip through some of the managers that kind of explain it when I'm done kind of demoing this. But check this out. So here we go. We'll go ahead and a little bit of background music. We'll go ahead and just play the game kind of as is. I'm going to leave that spot blank. We'll click done. I'll go ahead and throw one unit on the base. All right, and then you can see the computers. They're going to go ahead and do their thing. All of that decision making right there, which cards to put down. Of course, it only has one unit card to play right now, but all of that is like a giant decision tree to figure that part out. One thing we can cheat right now, we can actually look and see what kind of cards they got. Airdrop, captain's orders, and then they got an ammo. So we could cheat for now. That eventually will go away. Another thing I did too, you can see compared to my last video, I've changed the UI a little bit. I now have these kind of player cards or columns on the sides. Of course, on the left side here in red, this is the enemy, and then this is player one. These pictures, I'll put some better pictures in there at some point. Got the done button. These attack buttons will not be in the game. They're just here for me to test. Actually, you can see we'll go ahead and attach an ammo card. And we'll attach an attachment card, why not? We'll drop this unit down, we'll attach one more ammo card. We'll go ahead and play a captain's orders, so all of this is wired up. Each one of these things is like a different FSM that handles these actions. I'll go ahead and put this attachment down on this card on the base. Of course, you can hover over and take a look at the cards. These ones I haven't set up the images yet, so when I hover over, it's actually the wrong card. But that's okay. But you can see the deck counts. It is counting decks, counting number of cards in hand, prize cards, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and attack with attack one. And you can see it kind of shoots or hits this guy right here. I don't have any effects for player one cards yet. But player two cards, I do have some gun shooting. I'm going to go ahead and attack the other guy too, even though technically this is not how the game works. You can't attack twice with one card, but we're testing, so let's just go ahead and proceed. Now it's going to be the opponent's turn. There they go. They draw a card, and they're thinking right now, so there they go. They play a command card, still thinking. Now they play the supporter, and they played a health. They healed some damage off of that unit. That took me a while to put together. Played a couple cards down on the base. Now it's attaching the ammo cards. That's a whole nother decision tree. Now it's going to attack. That was a decision tree, and then this is another decision tree. So you can see that it attacked twice, and it actually did 60 damage, which is what it was supposed to do. So yeah, we're in the thick of battle right now. This is happening. So we'll go ahead and attach a couple more ammos, and we'll go ahead and play a lieutenant's order. We'll draw 3 cards, and you can see the decks aren't properly built yet, but they work. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and attack again. I'm gonna go ahead and knock this second guy out. Let's knock him out. Bam, knocked out. He's got 120 damage, and we'll go ahead and end the turn. In the real game, after we attack, we'll just automatically end the turn, but for testing, I have to keep pressing the done button to end the turn. And now it's knocked out, and I drew a prize card, and it didn't flip over. Oh my gosh, I gotta fix that. That's okay. What card is that? It's not gonna show me. Well, you can see one bug right there. I thought I had this fixed, but it's okay. Well, actually, what I have to do is I have to rotate that card. I forgot to rotate it. You can see the joys of working on this. So this guy's going to be knocked out. There we go. Bam, knocked out. And the opponent drew a prize card, which is exactly what we want. Still have no idea what this card is, but that's okay. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off because I can't move these units yet. So I haven't put the manager in place to move your cards around the playing field yet for player 1. Of course, you saw the computer. They're able to do it. They have their whole movement manager set up. So we'll go ahead and stop. But you can see that we were able to attack, draw a prize card, all that kind of stuff. So compared to where I was at last time, where the only thing the computer could do was just put units down on the field, you could pretty much see the computer's like playing the game. It actually has right now, it has more functionality than player 1 has, than the human player, which is pretty funny. Really, actually, like the way that I have it wired up, that computer can play the entire game. So I gotta get off my butt and finish the rest of player 1 side of things. But let's dive into the managers, because if anybody's here watching this for game dev purposes, welcome. I'm probably going to rewatch this video myself just for game dev purposes to remember exactly what I did. So here we go. This is how I set up the computer. So you can see here on the side, I have game manager object. I have master game manager, and these are just FSMs. This is the master game manager, but that's not the computer. So the way that the computer works is you're going to have the ability to fight or to battle against different opponents, right? So each opponent kind of has to have their own logic depending on the cards that's inside of their deck. So if I go to player 2 game managers, you can see here I have three different game objects one called Lieutenant Gomez, Lieutenant Dan, of course, from Forrest Gump, and Colonel John Matrix, which is from the Commando movie, if you remember that. But Lieutenant Gomez is the AI computer that I'm really working on right now. And really, all this game object it's a really kind of an empty game object that is housing all of these different FSMs right here. So if we look at this, you can see all these different FSMs and there's a hash table here. This is a list of all the cards inside of Lieutenant Gomez's deck. And if we scroll down, there's another hash table proxy for positions and what positions are occupied on the field. So this is kind of this is the game object with all the FSMs that handle really the entire logic of the computer. And so you have the startup decision tree. This is the very first FSM. So during the startup process, this FSM will handle, kind of bring it over in the field of view. This is the FSM that handles really all the decision making for which units to put on the field when we're both starting the game. And it just kind of works through, it'll take a look, see how many ammo cards are in hand. Then it'll take a look to see which unit cards it has in hand, and then from there it'll just decide. So that's one. And then probably the most critical FSM for the AI is this turn manager. And I'm not going to apologize, but just know, when you're using visual scripting, to this extent, that I'm using it, a lot of your FSMs are just going to be monstrosities. So this is the turn manager. it makes no sense if you don't know, if you didn't put it together, but I'll explain it the best I can. Basically, all these different states that are color coded, these are different phases of the turn. So like the very first phase here in blue, this is the very first thing the AI will do during their turn. When it's their turn, they'll draw a card. So that's the very first thing. Just like Pokemon, they'll draw one card off top of their deck. This teal color, this is just, each time you see teal, that means the AI is going through and it's recounting, or it's looking at which cards that it has inside of its hand. And what it does is it takes those cards, the hand here, and it puts them into an array. It puts them into an array, and it also counts the ammos, counts how many ammo cards that it has. This is an event going off to another game manager, which I'll show you here in a sec. This manager that it's sending an event to is a unit card position manager. So it's a manager completely dedicated to looking at units on the field of play and basically logging all of their stats and all of the information that the game is going to need. It's stupid complicated. But it's necessary. Like the AI literally the AI is like playing blind, and so that position manager is kind of like the eyes. Like it's your eyes to see, it's the computer's eyes to see which cards are on the field and what it's supposed to do. In purple here, these are action cards. So anything in purple is going to be action. So that's like the airdrop card you saw, or like the healing card that we saw. That was an action card. So anything in purple is action. Yellow is going to be attachment. So I'm not really using attachments in this deck at the moment, but eventually I will. Green is going to be these green. I know I actually have a green up here, but there's another green here. This is supporter card. So that's the like captain's orders, major's orders, all those cards. It'll play supporter. You can see here we're reading their hand again. Another action card. Then we read our hand again. And then here we trigger the FSM manager for unit placement. So by that point in the turn, at like that phase in the turn for the computer, they've played their supporter card, they've played action cards. So now they're looking at their hand and they're deciding if they want to put any units on the field of play or not, or if they want to move anything from the base to the active spot. Kind of that's where it makes all those decisions, and it does it with that placement manager. Once that placement manager is done, then it comes back, waits for a couple seconds, and then does another get position manager. So it's got to see everything on the field now that it's put its own units out there. And the reason why that is important, because immediately after that, it's going to start attaching ammos. If it has any ammos in the hand, it'll send an event to the ammo manager, which will then decide which units to put ammo cards on. Pretty complicated. And then once that's done, it'll go ahead and make sure that it's used its supporter card already. If not, then it'll try to use like a captain's order if it has it. And then from there, it's going to go ahead and get all the unit card positions again and all the corresponding stats. Now that the computer has played all its cards, it's attached ammos and everything, it's going to do one more check and basically scan the field for all the unit cards. And the reason why it's doing that is because now in red here at the bottom, it's kind of hard to see, but in red it's going to say start attacking. So it's going to go ahead and send an event to the attack manager, which is a whole nother decision tree. So yeah, this is just the turn manager. Like this is just one. This is every turn, every time it's the computer's turn, it goes through this turn manager and all the different phases of a turn, which is like what a human player would do, really. So let's go ahead and look at one of these other managers. Let's see, we got the turn manager. Here's the get unit card position. So that's what I said. This is like the eyes. These are the eyes of the AI computer opponent. We'll slide this over. Pretty simple. It gets pinged by a global event right here. Game manager player 2 get unit card positions. It'll go ahead and reset some variables just to make sure we don't have any overlap. Get unit card names. It's gonna, so by eyes, basically what this thing needs to do, it needs to collect information from each unit spot on the board. So that's actually 12 different locations, plus it needs to look at base cards and things like that. So it's actually 14. So it needs to see all that, but not only does it need to like retrieve the information, but we need to know if it has any ammo, if like that unit has any ammo cards, does it have any damage, does it have any like damage modifiers or health modifiers, it's got to know all that stuff. So this is how we do it. We go up here, we check for base slot, we try to we do a string count. Basically what this is to get a child count. We just look to see which of these slots actually have children in them. That's how we'll know if there's a unit there or not. Once we do that, we'll go ahead and get the name. We will check these slots here. This is actually hash table. It's actually resetting the hash table. Then we'll go here, empty state. Got to get rid of that. And then we reset some more variables just in case. I actually probably can get rid of that. This manager was a real pain in the butt to put together. I had a lot of problems with it, but I got it dialed now where it works every time. But the way it works, we get those child count, and these first states here, we do an int compare, so string count. This just tells us, is there a unit inside of that active slot? Yes or no. If it's a yes, then it's a 1. If it's a no, it's a 0. And you can see here, if it is a yes, then it's going to go ahead and do these things. It's going to get last child, which is get the unit. It's going to go ahead and count it inside of a couple of different variables or arrays. Set the bool, get an FSM int, so it's going to get the ammo count, get the max ammo for that unit, so that's inside of the card properties of the card. It's going to do a hash table set, so this goes back to the position manager. There's a hash table that I use that manager refers to know if there's open slots or not. And then from there, it's going to go ahead and do all these different things. It's going to get damage sustained. Is it a surface vehicle? HP value, max attack damage, damage reduction mod, yada yada, all the way down. These are all properties on the cards themselves, and each card has different properties. So yeah, it's getting all that stuff and it's logging it. So it logs. So of course, my variable list is just colossal. These are all variables for each slot for both players. But they're all critical. Like I use all of these stats to count everything. And honestly, this is probably like the most like barbaric way of doing it. But it works, and it's stupid complicated. There's probably a way better way of doing it. So I don't really recommend doing it the way that I've done it, but I'm just showing you how I did it. Yeah. And so that's just for active slot 1. Like this block here is active slot 1. This block here is active slot 2. This block here is active slot or base slot 3 or 1, base slot 2, base slot 3, and then base slot 4. And that's just for the computer side. Of course, we got to count player 1 side, so the computer needs to know what player 1 has. So here's all the player 1 stuff right here. Player 1, active slot 2, base slot 1, base slot 2, base slot 3, and then base slot 4 right at the bottom. So it's getting all of that data. Like that one manager, that's all this thing does. It's literally the eyes of the computer, and it just reads everything, gets all the stats. So that way in our other managers, we have the stats in place that help us to make decisions. So, all right, I know I talked your ear off about that one, but ammo distribution manager, this is the manager that handles distributing ammo. This is another just colossal manager. Here you go. Just one big decision tree. But it basically, to sum it up, it's going to go through, it's going to get all of those stats that we just gathered from that position manager that collects all those stats. We're going to look at those stats. We're just going to, right here, we're just going to decide, like we're going to find out how many ammo cards we have in hand. And based off how many ammo cards we have in hand, we got a couple different decision trees. If we only have 1 ammo, we'll go this direction. If we have more than 1 ammo, then we'll go this direction. And we'll just decide whether we're going to put the ammo cards on our active units, or if we're going to put it on a base unit. These ones down here, actually I got to delete these. Those are no longer used. I went through a couple different iterations of this manager to get it right. And that's kind of just the nature of the beast. That's just how it goes. Like, you have to constantly just like rework things all the time until you get it to work. And then unit placement manager, same kind of thing as the ammo distribution manager, except all this one does. This one's actually really nice and pretty to look at. Same kind of thing. It's going to go ahead and get that data from that placement manager that we used. We're going to look. We're going to know where all of our units are at on the field, and we're going to know which slots are empty. And then we're just going to go ahead and put an active unit in place if we want to, or we can go ahead and put some base units in place, which is this side of the tree right here. And then these little actions, all they're doing is if we decide, yes, choose unit 1, we want to, so, player 2 base 1 is false, so it means there's no card there, so it's an open slot. Yes, we want to put a unit, and we're going to go ahead and put this unit. We're going to take it from our hand. We're going to find it. We're going to set the rotation. We're going to move it. We're going to set the parent to the base slot, and then we're going to check the bool value. That's all that's doing. So, yeah, this one I actually took the time to straighten it out and not make it look like such a disaster. But it works. It works actually really well. And then we have some other things here. Supporter card manager. This is kind of a work in progress. It's just one manager. Since we're doing the computer, we don't have to put these different FSMs on the cards themselves. So I just kind of built them right into that player AI system. These are all the different supporter cards. So you got one supporter card here, another supporter card here, and another supporter card here. And if we zoom in and look at the action, you got majors orders, captain's orders, and then lieutenant's orders. Those are the 3 supporter cards that I can use. Of course, each different AI that I have for like different decks, this list can vary just depending on what's inside of the deck. And then same thing with action card. I won't go through that. It's literally the same thing as the supporter, just with action cards. Attachment card manager. Actually, that's a blank state. I haven't done anything with that one yet. And then the attack manager. This is a big one. Another just really colossal manager. I'll sum it up for you. It's going to get the data from that position manager, right? But not just that. Another thing that it's going to do is it's going to look at the units that it has on the playing field, and it needs to determine how much potential damage each of those cards can do. And that's kind of what these 2 blocks right here, that's all that's doing. It's looking at the 2 active cards that it has, or 1 active card if it only has 1, and it just needs to know what is the potential damage output from that card. That's important because it really determines like whether you're going to attack or not, or which card you're going to attack, or which one of your cards you want to attack first. And so there's really, especially with 2 active slots, there's so many different possibilities. Like you can use both of your active units to attack one of your opponent's units, or you can use both of your active units to attack both of your opponent's active units, or you can just have one attack and then have the other not attack, or vice versa. So all of that needs to be taken into account, and so that's what this manager is doing, is it's looking at the stats of the cards, what the potential damage is, and then once it knows that, down here, there's 4 different outcomes right now of how this thing can attack. Each one of these little blocks down at the bottom will determine who attacks first, who attacks what, and when, basically. And that's just all this attack manager doing is just deciding who needs to attack and when. That's all this thing is doing. The actual attacks get carried out in the next manager. I'm going to show you. So I actually have 2 of them because there's 2 active slots. So there's attack enemy slot 1 and attack enemy slot 2. So there's actually 2 separate managers. They're exactly the same, but they're exactly the same managers, but they handle different slots to attack. And so here is another colossal manager. These are the managers that actually carry out the attacks. They apply the damage, they do the other special actions and all that stuff. Yeah, it's massive. It comes through, it works through, it finds which unit that it has, goes to this table here, checks to see which unit we're actually playing with, checks the max damage, whether we can attack or not, and then depending on if we can attack or not, it'll go ahead and carry out those attacks with these green boxes. Yeah, I guess I won't dive into that too much more, and then these boxes, these kind of colorful blocks up on the sides, these are actually the attachment cards that are attacks. And so, like, if the unit has an attachment card, it'll instead come up here and use whatever attachment card attack that it has. So there's that, and that's it. It's a lot. I mean, I know I haven't posted a lot of videos the last couple months. This is why. It's because I'm putting all this stuff together, and I'll be honest. I was hoping my next video would be just a straight up gameplay, but there's so much to do that I'm hoping maybe my next video will be like a true match to show you guys. But you can see I'm gonna go ahead and play again. I'm getting really close. Like it's getting there. There's just so much to do. Like there's so much. Even I kind of thought like a single player would be easy. Far from it. I think it might actually be the same, if not maybe a little easier to do like multiplayer, since you're just handling like user interface. If that makes sense. You're not having to do the entire decision tree for a computer. So yeah, let's kind of run through it again. Now that you've seen all of the managers, maybe you might be able to like appreciate the actual like movement that's happening, because it's such a pain in the ass. Excuse my language. It just is. Like to do all of this stuff and to get it to work. It's just so many times pressing this play button and seeing a card fly off the screen, or getting some like red error code on the side, or just something not working, or a card. Right before I recorded this video, I had a card that would ammo card would go to 140 times scale and cover the entire screen and give me a red code of death. Like just constant issues. Putting these things together, even with visual scripting, like it makes it easier, but it's still the same concepts apply. You're still kind of fighting everything, trying to get things to work. And so yeah, just to see it now and to be able to move cards around, attach ammos, attach attachment cards, put units down, all of this, they're all just like steps in the process, and each time you got to figure things out and write the FSM for it. So we're going to go to the next person's turn. So look at the AI. They draw a card. That was one phase. They play the action card. That was another phase. Play another action card. That was another phase. Here we are. We're putting the units down. That was a phase and a separate manager. Next, we're going to attach some ammos. That was a phase and another manager. Now we're going to attack, which is another couple different managers, right? So you just saw there how seamless that was. I'm not kidding you. That was probably like 40 hours worth of work. Like at least 40 hours to get what you just saw, to get it that seamless. It was a pain in the ass. Excuse my language. But we're here. You can see it did damage. And the little animations suck. I get it. Like it's not anything like Pokemon where the card comes flying up and it hits the other card. I would love to do that, and I think I will maybe at some point. But damn, just to get it to do that was another couple hours of just kind of tinkering and figuring something out. So there we go. Yeah, we got it. Like I said, for player one, my attack buttons are not lined up. Ideally, I would click on the unit and I'd be like, okay, I can use one of these attacks, and I'd click the button and then select the unit. Probably in the next video I'll have that wired up. But yeah, we'll go ahead and just do attack one. And then actually let's just go ahead and knock these guys out. Let's just do attack two. Got a little bit of sound effect. We'll attack them again. There we go. I'll go ahead and throw another ammo on this guy. Play a major's orders. There we go. Let's put a tank buster on this guy. Put an ammo here. Alright, and then we'll attack again. Oh, the other thing too, the UI. The UI, I kind of went through and rehashed this like a few times. I was trying to come up with something that looks better. Let me know what you guys think. Like if you guys like this, or even if you're even watching this video at this point, smash the like button for me, please. I mean, I've been rambling for probably 20 minutes, kind of going through everything. And I think maybe only like 10% of people actually make it to this point. So, but anyways, yeah, I kind of went through the UI and tried to reimagine it and try to come up with like a Battlefield 2042 style like military UI. I like it. It's better than what I had. There we go. We knocked that guy out, drew a prize card, and we still didn't rotate. We got to fix that, but no big deal. I'll fix it. There we go. We draw cards, and then they're going to knock me out on this next move here. So you can see they move the card up to the active slot, and then they're going to attach an ammo. Bam, there we go. And then we're going to attach probably one more ammo. They must not have any other ammos. Yeah, doesn't look like it. Oh, they did. We'll have to look into that. Alright, yeah, you can see you knocked them out, and now they have 5 prize cards. So yeah, just to get it to this point was just crazy hard. Even with Playmaker was just really, really difficult. And we see we have a transformed child out of bounds, so we have to figure that out. Lieutenant Gomez. You know, that was probably... something happened in the ammo distribution manager. So anyways, there you go. You can see I thought I had it all dialed in. Apparently I don't. so welcome to my world. I'll have to go figure this one out. As far as that rotation, so let's go ahead and go to the game managers and the knockout manager. This is how I handle all of the knockouts and drawing of prize cards and stuff. It's one giant manager. Goes through all 12 slots and checks for damage. And so the problem was here. So actually not there. Take that back. It's actually up here. P2 active slot 1. Or I think it was right here. Let's take a look. Yeah. So what this does is it gets the prize card value and then it loops through. So depending on how much value prize value the card is worth, it'll loop through that many times. Yeah, I'm missing an action here. So you can see how I get a random prize card and then I move the card and then I parent it to the hand. I'm supposed to rotate the card too, so like rotate it over so you can actually see the face of it. I just forgot to add that action, so I'll do that here in a sec. But that's all I got, guys. Like I spent probably longer on this video than I wanted to, but you kind of get a point. Like this game is progressing. It's almost playable. I'd say it's about 85% there. The other 15 to 20% being ironing out bugs like what you see on the screen, errors, and then getting the actual player one controls in place for player one to make decisions and use attacks and stuff. But I'm really not that far off. Other thing I got to do to the AI, I got to add other cards. Right now it's just using light infantry, but there's other cards I got to add into it. I got to do unit promotions. I got to do attachments. But before I get to that stuff, I'm trying to just get it to the point where I can play a match. Just play a match with just basic units, basic cards, just ammos, and just get to that point. Play a match and try it. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Thank you all for watching. For like the 5% of you that make it to the video, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.